We're diving into breaking news now out of the US. James Comey has been indicted on one count of making false statements and one count of obstruction of justice.
Yeah, to help us digest it all, we're joined by former White House staffer Laura Schwartz. Good to see you, Laura. What's the latest on this, please?
Well, this is the first time an FBI director has ever been indicted, former or present. And here's the deal, Dickie. The statute of limitations will run out in 5 days if Comey wasn't indicted. And this is something that Trump even telegraphed to the nation, to the world, when he tweeted out on Truth Social last weekend to his attorney general, Pam Biondi, saying, it's time to indict. It's time to indict this man. Because you see, James Comey allowed the Russia investigation to go forward, the investigation into whether or not the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. Trump is never like that. Comey's been on his revenge list. He, in fact, hired a lawyer that is mega loyal, but yet competent to serve as the district attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia. Now, that's the district that would indict Comey. Well, he installed this lawyer. The lawyer came back to the White House and said, me and my prosecutors don't see enough of a case here that we could make at all to actually follow through with a guilty verdict on James Comey, so we're not going to bring it. Well, guess what? Trump fired that lawyer, or as the lawyer says, he left, and he installed a personal lawyer that has a specialty in insurance law. She has no real prosecutorial experience. So she came in on the job on Monday of this week. Today's Thursday, and she's followed through with her pledge to get Trump that indictment. But this is just an indictment. This is not yet the trial, but Comey is going to have to get a lawyer, post bail, and go before a jury.
Wow, extraordinary times in America, isn't it? Let's move on to Jimmy Kimmel now. He's obviously come back swinging to late-night TV. Trump has, in retaliation, threatened to sue again. Where do you see this all heading for late-night TV and Jimmy Kimmel?
Well, let's take a brief look at this. When he came back on Tuesday night and Wednesday night, he has tripled his ratings, and that's even with 60 of the affiliate stations still blacked him out, and they showed other episodes of different television series. So in about 20% of the United States, they couldn't even see Kimmel, and yet Kimmel tripled his ratings when he came back. His YouTube views are over 20 million for his opening night monologue, and last night is looking close to that as well. And he really has come out to be the guy that says, hey, you don't have to like my show. You don't have to watch my show. But it's important that a show like this can exist in a free and open society. So he's really coming out for the free speech agenda and the First Amendment of our Constitution. So he was really received by many Democrats and Republicans alike that this was the right move to make. Now, whether or not those other, and we've talked about this last week as well, it'll be interesting to see if those affiliates owned by the conservative owner, Nexstar, will bring Jimmy Kimmel back onto their air, and all, including Washington, D.C. It's not even airing in Washington. We've heard that talks are ongoing with Disney and Nexstar to see if they'll start carrying Kimmel's show. But right now, Kimmel is just destroying the ratings like a champ. And last night, he went through word for word Trump's Truth Social post, where he says, I'm not threatening ABC, but it's time to take a look at them. I already got $16 million. Let's see how lucrative I can go next. So, Trump says the quiet thing out loud, which really messed up the cases to begin with. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Yeah, well, Jimmy has his platform back. This week, of course, also saw Trump address the United Nations with that scathing hour-long speech in the face of his auto cue problems, telling other world leaders that their countries are going to hell. What's been the reaction to that speech in the States?
Well, it's interesting because it went quadruple the time that he was allowed. And he began by talking about how when he bid on helping reconstruct and make updates to the headquarters of the United Nations, the building structure itself, Trump wasn't picked, and he holds that against them. The escalator stopped as it was carrying him up to the floor to give the speech. And here's the deal. His own press secretary and him in a Truth Social post said, this is a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. Turns out the United Nations got so many press requests to explain this, they put out a formal statement saying that the White House photographer, not a press photographer, the White House photographer with the video camera had turned around on the escalator up ahead of Trump and Melania. And there is a fail-safe when the elevators or the escalators see something going on. It will stop. They quickly reset it after. But of course, he started out his speech with that. And then he went on to say, climate change is a con job. When a lot of these nations are doing a lot to make sure that they're both energy efficient and saving money and mining climate change. We heard that during part of the speech, some of the world leaders just started taking selfies and talking to each other. The one thing that he did get in, which I thought was a pretty good line, is he said, "What is the United Nations good for? A strongly worded letter?" So he really went after the institution, and I think everybody just knew that this was par for the course, and tuned him out after a while.
Well, never a dull moment where you are, Laura Schwartz. We appreciate you breaking it all down for us once again. Thank you. We'll see you soon.